Hi, my name is Tilly. I am. What am I supposed to say? What are the things? Sorry.
How old are you?
Oh, I'm Tilly. I'm 22 years old. I work part time at the college, running the wood shop and the art building, and I also work on my family's farm. And I think I'm a Democrat.
My name is Jessica Rachel Truitt. My age is 30. My political viewpoint, um, innocent bystander, and exceptionally progressive. Um, Occupation, freelance artist.
My name is Anna Reyes. I am 27 years old. I originally identified as Republican, but now I'm not kind of sure where I fall because I'm not way to the left or way to the right. I don't know where I'm at. I am a critical care nurse. My definition of feminism would be being strong, being educated, being able to do the same things that a man can, with no bias, nothing really holding you back. I would say I identify as a feminist, even though some of my beliefs are conservative in nature. I'm a believing Christian and I practice Christianity. In my daily life, this just means that I'm not afraid to challenge anybody. I'm not afraid to go up against the guy. I'm not afraid, I don't think that intellectually they're any better. I don't let any of that hold me back from doing my job and doing my, making decisions in everyday life. Political beliefs are influenced by that because I think it's ironic that old white men are trying to tell us what we can do, what we can't do, what we shouldn't do, and I'm not about that. I don't support that.
So my definition of feminism is kind of this belief or view that everyone should be viewed and treated equally. So no matter your gender, race, class, age, ability, sexuality, anything, people structurally on an institutional level and individual level should just be treated equally. So I think being a feminist informs my daily life because I think it's kind of a perspective that I take on with every situation that I encounter. So whether it's something listening to like the news or something, or even just in one-on-one interactions, that I think it's just a viewpoint that I have.
Yeah.
So, feminism is the belief that men and women are equal and should have equal opportunities and rights. I do consider myself a feminist. Sorry. I'm not used to being on this end of it. I pay attention to the inequalities. I mean, I've noticed them my whole life. I mean, when I was a little kid, I really wanted to be a Boy Scout. And because I saw my older brother, and the Boy Scouts got to do amazing, fun things. They go camping and throw boomerangs and all these amazing things. So I became a Girl Scout, and Girl Scouts didn't do any of those things. It was about selling cookies and like doing crafts, but like not even like not even good projects. Like I remember being instructed to make a sit-upon. That's like a thing to sit on in the woods instead of the ground. We never went camping overnight, like real camping. One time we went to a facility that had bunk beds in a huge, hall type building. We went walking at night in the woods, but I mean, I wanted to do the things they did. From a young age, I spotted inequalities between genders. I saw the things my older brother got to do. that I didn't get to do. And it wasn't because of our age difference. It was because I was a girl. You know, he got to be in Boy Scouts and do all those fun things, and Girl Scouts didn't do fun things, and I wasn't allowed to be a Boy Scout. Now I see inequality in mostly the way that I'm just treated by other people. I think it's difficult for people to understand if they're not paying attention to the subtle ways. One of the best examples I can think of is job interviews. When a man goes to a job interview, he's expected to dress nicely and present himself in a nice way. A woman's expected to do the same thing, but if you're applying for any sort of professional position, if you're applying for any sort of professional position, it's considered unprofessional to show up to a job interview not wearing makeup. And I hate that. I don't want to wear makeup. I don't like wearing makeup. It feels uncomfortable on my skin. And I'm not about it. And like I'm wearing makeup now. I agreed to. And it makes sense. It's on film. It reads differently. That's the industry I work in. I see makeup artists. I understand and respect what they do. But in my day-to-day life, I don't want to wear makeup. And the fact that I could be perfectly qualified for a position but be considered not professional enough because I don't conform to these misogynistic standards. Like, who cares if my, you know, if I have makeup on my face? That's like the most absurd thing ever. That's telling me that my appearance is more important than my contributions. Like, women in the UK were recently fighting against sexist dress code policies where they would work in offices where they were required to wear high heels. High heels are linked to so many medical issues. They're not good for you. They're terrible for your legs, feet, your joints, your back. They're so bad for you. To be required to wear that is like destructive form of discrimination against women. It's like your physical well-being is less important than your appearance.
What was a serious and or intimate experience you had due to your gender, sexual orientation, or feminist beliefs?
Please repeat it. Sorry.
What was a serious or intimate experience you had due to your gender, sexual orientation, or feminist beliefs?
Could you elaborate a little about like what direction you're thinking with that?
Like, was there a specific moment in your life where you felt like you were either discriminated or picked on because of being a feminist or just being a girl or whatever? I forget. Like, what do you identify as? You're bi, right?
Omnisexual or pansexual. It's the same.
Similar, yeah.
Yeah.
A funny anecdote of discrimination would be I was 16 or turning, I was 15. Jesus Christ, that was like 12 years ago. I was 15 years old. I had just moved from Orlando to South Florida. I signed up for advanced weightlifting as a class because I enjoyed it a lot. I did really well in 9th grade, and in 10th grade I wanted to follow up. So the coach, he pulled me aside on the first day, you know, where you just sit on the bleachers and get roll call and that's it. And he goes, "Did you sign up for this class on purpose or on accident?" I said, "No, I signed up for advanced weightlifting. This is what this is, right?" And he said, "Yeah, that's exactly what this is. So you're gonna keep up with the boys and you're not gonna sit out, and you sure you don't want to do aerobics or something?" And I was like, I want to weightlift. I don't like aerobics. And I was a little bit thinner back then too. So he laughed, and he never gave me any preference because I was a girl or I was weak or whatever. He just treated me like everybody else. I had to run like everybody else before class. I had to increase my weight by percentage every class. and I had to max out just like the boys. So it was funny because, you know, at first it was like she must not be in the right class. Like, there's no way, because I was the only girl there. And it turned out to be one of my favorite classes. I enjoyed it.
A funny story that I actually made art about for a while was I was going to Home Depot, and I go to Home Depot a lot because I'm an artist. Well, I make really big like installations and sculptures and need a lot of industrial, and at the time I was making work that had to do with like really like industrial materials and masculinity and things like that. So I was going to Home Depot to buy a sledgehammer because at the time I was smashing a lot of things, like for performances and for other reasons. For art though, not because I'm crazy. And so I went to Home Depot, and you know, I'm a small woman, so whenever I go in there I always get kind of interesting looks or something. And people are always asking like, do you need help with something or whatever. But anyway, so I went in to buy a sledgehammer. And so I'm walking around the store with this big sledgehammer, and this guy comes up. I'm just minding my business, looking up, and this guy comes up to me, and he's like, oh, like, are you gonna go hit your boyfriend with that sledgehammer or something? And I was just like, what? And then, whatever, so I don't know what I said to him, but then I left, and I bought the sledgehammer, and I was walking to my car, and another two guys were walking by me, and they were like, the one guy said, oh, like, you should hit him with that sledgehammer. And I was like, what? Like, this is so bizarre, because I was so mad, because basically, like, the fact the only reason that I would be buying a sledgehammer is to inflict violence on a man who I'm either dating or, like, whatever. Like, the fact that I'm so weak that I have to buy this huge sledgehammer to hit someone with, and that is what, even if it's a joke, right? Like, even if that, like, that is what you think I'm purchasing this thing for. It just, I was really, made me angry for a while.
So I went to an all-girls college, which you think would be pretty progressive, and the concept of feminism wouldn't be upsetting or offensive. But some people are very resistant to understanding what feminism actually is. Some people are very resistant to understanding the actual meaning of feminism. They have a stereotype in their head, and they're very committed to believing that, and they don't seem to care what the actual definition of the word is. They have associations. So I did a project that examined that while I was in college, and one of the girls spoke out against feminists, and it was very bizarre because the whole project was about what the word actually means. And during the open question segment at the end, she stood up and was angry and was yelling about how she disagrees with feminists because all feminists are in favor of killing babies. And I was shocked. And my teacher, jaw dropped. He's like, did you listen to the project? But I don't know. I guess you can't really get people to listen if they refuse to you know, learn new things. If they're committed to their incorrect ideas. There's only so much you can do. It was very bizarre. It was just unexpected. But, I mean, that just, I guess, goes to show you how many people have strong misconceptions about a word. I mean, do I have funny anecdotes about people discriminating against me? Not so much. I have been discriminated against. I used to sometimes hold hands with a girl in high school, and I remember having Dyke screamed at us as we tried to walk to our school buses at the end of the day. I was 14 or 15. Actually, Dyke screamed at me a lot in high school. I had purple hair. Wasn't even like, that was before I held hands with a girl publicly. That was before anything, but I had purple hair, and so yeah, got Dyke screamed at me quite a bit.
A serious or intimate experience due to my feminist beliefs would be dealing with my now in-laws. When I was dating my husband, they did not welcome my belief, or at least my habit of, free belief exchange, free discussion. I grew up with that. My parents allowed me to say, well, why is this the way it is? Why do we believe this? Why do we do this? And I was told that I just have a strong personality, and that they weren't used to people being, or women being so, forward and direct and aggressive. And, it was all negative connotation. And a lot of time it almost drove my husband and I apart. We were dating at the time, and, it was hard. Knowing that I could have left the best thing that ever happened to me over someone else being ignorant, So that's intimate. That's kind of dear to me.
Yeah, it's fine. I kind of think just, like, because I am, like, a pretty liberal and, like, living in a very Republican household, and, like, a lot of my family is Republican, and I think that has something to do with the way, like, the ability that I have to do certain tasks. So, like, if I'm, like, my uncle or something would ask my brother or a cousin or something to help him, like, split firewood before asking me, because he probably doesn't think I can do it. You know what I mean? Something like that. So I think there's, like, underlying tones, but I don't know.
What do you think? I think most mainstream people get wrong about feminism is that feminism is about equality. It's not about being better than anybody else. It was never that way. And anybody who says that is not a feminist. I think the misconception exists because, it's scary when a bunch of educated women want to be treated the same instead of being treated like possessions and not serving. Nobody likes change, especially old white men, as history has shown us. How do you think the feminist movement has failed? We haven't proven that all we want is equality. We haven't really proven that we welcome everybody, because, quite frankly, when you say, oh, I'm a Christian, it's always with a stigma. Oh, you must not be a real feminist. Oh, you're just posing. Those things is why we're not where we need to be as feminists and as women as a whole. We don't support each other. We tear each other down. Everybody's everybody talks shit, and they're not real. And I think that is why it has failed at this point, in my opinion. We've made progress, and progress is, incredible, but there needs to be more.
I don't think it's without issue. I mean, I try not to generalize people. When I say I'm a feminist, I don't want people to make assumptions about me based on stereotypes about feminists. I don't want them to think, that I hate men, or that I'm going to judge them for choices they make, or any I don't want people to make generalizations about me, so I try to show people the same respect. I don't want to make an assumption about an entire group of people. So I wouldn't necessarily say that, like, feminism has failed. I think that there's more to be done, and I think progress has been made, but progress isn't always a straight line. Getting abstract, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know why it exists, but maybe just because, hold on. filmed. I don't think that it has failed yet, or maybe it has just changed a little, but I don't think that it's failed because I don't think people are. I just don't think it has happened yet, or it hasn't been successful yet because people aren't viewed or treated equally, and so until that time, then or if that never happens, then it fails, right? So if anything, I think recently people are becoming more when you ask people if they're feminists, they're more aware that they are feminists, or people are becoming more engaged. So I think if anything, maybe it's picking up again, or maybe it goes in waves of being successful or not successful, or failing or failed or whatever. So I think that the mainstream media thinks that feminism is all about empowering women in a way of making them hating on men and making women superior to men, when really it's just about, I think it's just about kind of making everyone on an equal playing field. And I think that kind of comes from, I'm not really sure why it's like that, but I think in ways it comes from this idea of when women are very overt about their opinions, then people view that as unattractive, or as she's lesser or something. Does that make sense? So I kind of think maybe that gets skewed as feminism being this bad negative thing. I don't know, maybe because when it first started it was about women's rights, and it wasn't necessarily about everyone kind of at first, and maybe it has shifted to this. So I don't know.
I don't think that feminism has failed, but I think we still have a ways to go. There's a lot of misinformation that people have. A lot of people just don't like the name. They think that it somehow means that we think women are superior to men, when it just really means we're in support of lifting the people who are considered second-class citizens up. And I feel like most feminists believe in equality regardless of gender, but also regardless of race and religion and orientation, sexual orientation and gender identity. This idea of equality and affording people the same opportunities and rights, I mean, it shouldn't be a radical idea.
I guess I'd just say that feminism is not a bad thing. If anything, it's good, and it's gonna make people more make everyone more happy. So people should just stop thinking it's this negative thing and thinking it's an F word, because it's really good.
It's being edited.
Okay.
I don't know what that was.
It was a signal. 2 minutes and then out from there.
Oh my gosh, I think I'm just gonna have a blooper reel for myself, and that's it.
Why? I thought this was the signal.
Well, but
This party is so crazy.
That has too many other something new.
Was that the last one? The last question?
There we go.
There we go.
Oh. I remember that time they carved faggot into my skin, but they misspelled it. You spelled it with an E.
Oh.
Oh, you crazy kids.